Hi, it's Emma with Polly's Paper Crafts, and I'm going to be creating a project with these two Like Forever kits. These are the May and June kits, and the colours are quite similar, so I'm kind of combining them. And this is a pretty long video, guys, so grab a cup of tea, make yourself comfy, and I'm going to tease you with a little sneaky peek of what I will be making, which I will put on the screen now, so you stick through to the end, because I promise it's worth it. So I've got my two kits. One of them has Paige Evans' Fancy Free in, and the other one has some illustrated faith papers and stuff in. So they're similar colours, so they go well together. As you probably saw from the little sneaky peek, I'm going to do a little bit of quilling. Now, this is not something that I've done before, but a quick little look at a couple of, well, one really, tutorial on YouTube, and it's really simple. It's basically just rolling paper. So I wanted to do it in the shape of a butterfly, and I found this template on just Google Images of a butterfly outline that was a nice open shape, because I wanted to fill it with my sort of quilled shapes. And it's a really nice way of adding a bit of dimension to your page. And actually, I'll say now, and I'll leave a link below, and I'll probably talk about it a bit more later. But I don't know whether you've heard about a website called Instructables, and on there's some really good sort of step-by-step guides of making crafts, and I have an Instructable for this. So basically what I've done is I've taken some patterned paper, and I think that one was from Fancy Free, or it was from the May kit anyway. And what I'm basically doing is just sort of bending it and shaping it and all sorts to fit my design. So I'm either using my fingers or my fingernail, or it's actually like a calligraphy pen holder, but you can use like the end of a paintbrush or whatever, just to sort of curl the paper. It's a bit like curling ribbon, for like wrapping presents. And I've just used some tacky glue just around the outline of my butterfly, and then I'm just bending that strip of paper into that shape. Really, really simple. So I cut that strip of paper at 1/4 of an inch wide. That's all it needs to be, which is quite good, because if you think of like a wood veneer button or whatever, that is probably about the same height that it would stand off your page. And don't worry, I'm not going to make you sit through me quilling the whole of the butterfly. I just sort of wanted to show you sort of the basics. So this is doing the outline of the butterfly, and you can see there that for that piece that I've already put down, I've put an acrylic block on the top, and that's just keeping it weighted down until that glue starts to set. But that's also the benefit of using tacky glue, because it will start to set quite quickly. You can see there as well that I've just sort of put a puddle, I suppose, a blob, it's probably a better word, a blob of glue on a scrap bit of paper, and I'm just using craft tweezers just to dip into that glue. So that's another way of doing it. You can either use your nozzle and do a line of glue around the outline, or dip the paper directly into a blob of glue. So here I'm just cutting some more paper, and this is just finishing off that butterfly outline. And you can see, I mean, I've moved over to the other side now, and the acrylic block's on the other side, but you can see that first side that I've done standing up on its own. I love that shadow that it casts on the paper. I think it just looks fantastic. I had previously decided, looking through the papers that I pulled out, that I was going to stick to a couple of colours with the butterfly. So I'm using the patterned paper, or you know what patterned paper's like. It's a slightly heavier weight, and you do need that sort of heavier weight just so the paper will hold its shape a bit more. And then when I'm infilling the butterfly, I do use some solid cardstocks as well, and I found that they're really good, because you can roll them and shape them, but like I said, they really do hold their shape. They're quite sturdy. And I decided, on looking through my papers, that I was going to stick with a few colours. So I was going to stick with sort of aquas, or like a tealy colour, yellow, and light pink and dark pink, and that's the overall sort of colour scheme of my butterfly, and I think it has a really, really pretty effect actually at the end. So I have moved on now to, I'm putting like the little antenna onto my butterfly. So I've cut 2 smaller strips. Again, all the strips are at 1/4 of an inch wide, and that makes it really easy to just cut loads in advance and then have them all ready to go. This does take a little bit of time. This did it. I don't know. It's probably the equivalent if you're going to spend the time to hand stitch on a layout. It's probably the same amount of time to quill on a layout, and I think that's I think the end result is, I think it's really pretty, so I think it's worth it. So here I'm just cutting some more papers, and you can see there I've got that sort of tealy colour. The yellow, I was having some issues with getting some straight lines with this yellow. I got there in the end. So the yellow, and I'm going to pull out some cardstocks as well in a minute. So obviously with a butterfly, their patterns are usually symmetrical. So whatever I do on one side, I'm going to try and do on the other as well. So you probably saw there, I've got a pair of craft tweezers, you know, the ones where you press them to release rather than to pick up. And for all of this layout, or for all of the quilling, I use those tweezers because you can get quilling tools, which are basically like really big needles, and you put like the paper into like where the eye of the needle would be, and then you use the tool to roll it. This is my cheats version because I didn't have that. So I was using my tweezers, so I was just clipping the end of my strip of paper into my tweezers to get that roll of the paper started, and then I would take my tweezers out and then roll the rest of it between my fingers. So to get the different shapes, it's a case of kind of playing with it really. To get these teardrop shapes, you would roll it into a circle, release the paper a little bit so the circle goes loose, and then sort of pinch on one side. So you're sort of bringing one side into a point, and then the rest of the circles go down into one end, and it gives you like a teardrop shape. But it is really a case of just kind of experimenting with rolling the paper, letting it go, or rolling it and keeping it tight, and you know, just experimenting with the different shapes that you can create really. And that was actually, I think that was my favourite part, because it was kind of like a puzzle to think about, okay, what could go here, and you know, what kind of shape could I create to fill in this bit, and I don't know, it was like a quilled jigsaw, and I really enjoyed doing it. So here I slowed the video down just so you could see. I started off the curl with the tweezers, and then I'm just rolling it between my fingers, and then I'm going to let it go a little bit. I'm going to secure, maybe I don't secure the end on this one. This one I've rolled it tight, and it's going to fill in a little gap between a yellow piece and a pink piece. So I'm covering the bottom with glue, and then I'm just going to drop it into that space and let it expand in the space, so it kind of fills in the gap itself, and then just moving a smaller acrylic block just on the top, just to keep it there until it sets. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I would recommend having a go at it actually, definitely. I enjoyed the process. You can see here I'm just, when I've created a loose roll or whatever, I would just secure the end of the strip of paper with just a tiny little bit of glue, and then put it down onto the page. So this has been made as an entry in a contest over on the Instructable's website, which I will leave a link to down below. The website is huge, and I haven't had a chance to explore it all yet, but you can sign up for free accounts, and they do classes and contests, and there's just step-by-step how-to guides for pretty much anything you can think of. So this is for a quilling contest, and it's to win a Silhouette Cameo. So, you know, I thought, why not? There we go. Thumbs up, because I managed to fill in my design. So my original plan for this page was to use this colour photo of me. Selfie, obviously. But then I was thinking, because of all the colours that are in my butterfly, the colour photo just wasn't working for me. And then I also thought I needed some sort of border to my white page. So I had this piece of striped paper from Bella Boulevard. I think it's part of Illustrated Faith. No, it's not. It's not from Bella Boulevard at all. It's Simple Stories. And all of those colours are exactly the kind of colours that I was using in my butterfly. So I trimmed down my white cardstock, left about, I think it's a 1/4 of an inch on each side, and I just think having the pink and the teals and the grey is a nice neutral, the yellow around the edge, I just think it really makes that butterfly pop as well on the white. It really makes it stand out. So now I'm thinking about layers for my photo. I don't want to do too many layers because obviously I've got my butterfly, it's really big. My photo, I don't want it to take up a huge amount of space, but because it's a black and white photo, I don't want it to blend into my white background. So I've used a little bit of that pink sort of brush strokey paper, which is from Paige Evans, and then I've got this yellow paper which I think is also from Paige Evans actually, and I think just layering those behind really makes my photo sort of stand out against that white background, and that's enough. I think it's like 3 layers, and that's plenty for me. And then I've just got a little bit of a scrap, but I think I get rid of that. Yeah, I do. So I'm just going to stick that down. I'm happy with that. I didn't, after all of the quilling and everything with the butterfly, I didn't want everything else to be really, really fussy. I didn't want anything to detract from that butterfly because it'd taken me ages. I was really, really happy with the way it looked, and I didn't want to take anything away from that really. But I knew I wanted some embellishment, and of course I would need a title. So I needed something to sort of ground my photo. So I've used some thin strips. These were strips that I had cut ready to be quilled, so it's not like they're not wasted. So I've got a couple of thin strips that I'm just going to put along the bottom at different sort of lengths, just so it's where my photo can sit. And then in the Fancy Free cutter part, I love these flowers and really wanted to use them somehow, and I can't remember, I think I do use them. But I fussy cut them out of the cutter part, so it's meant to be like a journaling card, but I've fussy cut them out, and I really wanted to use them. I think I play around with them a bit and then I move them away, and no, I think they stay there actually, just tucked into the corner of my photo. And I'm just going to look through embellishments. So this is a Simple Stories Carpe Diem Snap ephemera pack. There are some really cool pieces in this ephemera pack. I can see it working on planners or Project Life, or I'm obviously using them on Scrapbook layout. So I tipped them into my little pot and just sort of sorting through them, looking colour-wise actually, not really looking at what it said, but looking colour-wise of how it would fit in with my layout. So I've pulled out lots of bits and pieces that I think could work, and then I'm going to narrow it down even more. So those flowers will stay in that bottom corner because I think it just ties in with my photo quite nicely. And then I'm looking at a few different banners and words that could be a title. Thought about maybe tucking the feathers in, but that doesn't work. So basically I'm just going to play around with some of the ephemera. So like I said a second ago, this has an Instructable, so it's like a step-by-step guide. And in my guide it will actually link back to this video. But it has been entered for a contest to win a Silhouette Cameo. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, then I will leave the link to Instructables down below. It's free to sign up, and it's free to enter contests and stuff, and then you just need people to vote for your sort of project to be able to win. So how are you guys anyway? Is this something, like, is the quilling on a layout something that you would think about doing? I hadn't actually seen it done, and when did I make this? I think I made it last weekend, maybe the weekend before. And so this video, I mean, it's a long video, so it's taken a while to edit. But I didn't want to share like the layout or anything until then. And then I follow on Instagram Emma_KW3, and she posted a little sneak and then consequently a layout with quilling on, and I was like, what are the chances that, you know, I've never seen that done before, and then within days of me doing mine that I thought was totally original, there's another quilled sort of element on a layout, which I just thought was so coincidental. Even more freaky that her name is also Emma. So clearly we've got the same brain. But yes, so what am I doing? So I'm putting that banner in the top corner, which is kind of coincidental because I sort of chucked it there as I was sorting through the ephemera and then kind of liked the way it looked, so moved it up to the top corner, and it mimics the colours that are in my sort of page border. And then I've just stapled a white dotty heart over the top. I'm gluing down the today, which is going to be my title, and I'm leaving you with some close-ups. I really hope you enjoyed this layout, guys. I really loved making it, and I encourage you to have a go. If you are the type of person who would spend the time sewing on a layout, then have a go at quilling on a layout, because I just think the effect of it is really cool. It leaves that awesome kind of shadow on your page, and it's just something a little bit different. I think this one will go on display maybe rather than in an album. So I added those Paige Evans fancy free buttons, and I'm calling it done. So if you haven't already, click that subscribe button, leave comments down below. I'd love to hear what you thought about this layout in particular and whether you would like to do it. And until next time, guys, bye.